This is a video briefing of Skydive Tennessee. By watching, you'll be more familiar with the drop zone and be prepared to jump. This is an aerial view of the hangar and the property. Notice it is positioned to the east of the main landing area. The main landing area is divided into 4 different sub-landing areas, the first of which is the general student landing area. This area is open to all jumpers of all skill levels. The rules are no turns greater than 90 degrees. We're going to fly using either a left north or a right hand south pattern depending on the predetermined landing direction. And we're going to only land in either a north or south direction. The landing direction is always announced before each load. Always confirm the landing direction with the load organizer on every single jump, as conditions have the potential to change throughout the day. It's the responsibility of all jumpers landing in the general landing area to follow this predetermined landing direction, regardless of tetrahedron, windsock activity, or actual wind direction. On days that we have light and variable winds, the tetrahedron might be pointing in a direction different than the landing direction. If the wind direction has changed, there's a chance jumpers will be landing with a downwind or crosswind push. So if you don't wish to follow the predetermined landing direction for any reason, simply land on the west side of the runway in one of the alternate landing areas, which we'll show you in a moment. Long story short, follow the predetermined landing direction. Next to the general student landing area is the high performance landing area. It is 500 feet long by 25 feet wide. Before attempting to land in this area, or doing any turns greater than 90 degrees, please confirm with an SDTN and get approval. It is your responsibility to inform others on the load that you are landing in this area. If other jumpers on the load may be under canopy at the same time as you or landing in that area as well, it's important that you communicate your plan, pattern, turn, and landing direction before the jump. There is also an area reserved for B, C, and D license holders. The rules are no turns greater than 90 degrees. We're going to fly using either a left-hand north or a right-hand south pattern, and we're only going to land in either a north or south direction as determined by the load organizer. Tandems and students have right-of-way in the pattern and on approach to this area. Our last sub-area of the main landing area is the Tandem and Videographer landing area. Since this area is east of the runway, it's also subject to the rules of predetermined landing direction. This area is only for tandems, videographers, and instructors on workshops. You'll notice we do not land in the area north of the AWOS tower. The AWOS is very sensitive meteorology equipment, and any damage is very expensive to repair. The Life Flight helicopter often uses this area north of the AWOS tower to load and unload critical passengers. Try not to land in this area, but if you must, beware of the potential for helicopter traffic. Also, avoid the windsock, electrical outlet, and tetrahedron along the center line of the main landing area. Upon your landing, our truck and trailer will be parked near the tandem landing area and is available for you to walk to for a ride back to the hangar. Please do not land by the truck and trailer, as this is the tandem landing area. If you choose not to ride the trailer back and instead quickly walk back to the hangar across the tarmac, please buddy up and watch out for airplanes and helicopters. If there is any aircraft movement nearby, you must stop and give way to the moving aircraft on the taxiway. Our north-south runway is 4,255 feet in length. You are not allowed to fly over the runway under 1,000 feet. We must respect and avoid this tiny bit of airspace for our pilots and the aircraft that they're flying. Do not fly over the runway on the downwind leg of your landing pattern. Also, if you are at 1,000 feet and you must fly over the runway to get to the main landing area, you must choose to abort and land in an alternate area. Now, it's important to note there is a grass runway which runs parallel to the paved runway. This is used by glider pilots, so be alert and do not land on the grass runway. If you're landing on the west side of the runway, you will need to quickly cross the grass and paved runways. But before you do, look both ways. If an airplane or glider is landing while you are near a runway, please do not cross. Stay back and give the aircraft plenty of room. The aircraft always have the right of way. It's helpful for the pilot if you take a knee. This way the pilot knows you aren't going to cross the runway unexpectedly. This is the alternate landing area that we mentioned earlier. This is the perfect place to land if you wish to land in a direction other than the predetermined direction. For example, if the winds are strong out of the east or west and you are uncomfortable landing in a strong crosswind, you may want to land in this area. If you are west of the runway below 1,000 feet, you'll need to land in this area. The rules for this landing area are: no turns greater than 90 degrees, fly using a left-hand pattern, and you may land in any direction that you'd like. Remember, your first priority is to land safely. You may land in any of the other grassy areas if you are unable to safely make it to any of the designated landing areas. Beware, the landscape is not well groomed and the grass is tall and clumpy, so be prepared to land on an uneven surface. This is the main hangar, which is the starting point for all jumping operations. This is where you'll find manifest, gear rental, a rigging loft, carpeted packing space, and restrooms. Flight information is displayed on a large screen on the south wall of the hangar to help you understand what load you are on and the time remaining until boarding. On a 5-minute call, you're expected to be in the loading area, fully geared up and ready to skydive. Please don't show up in the loading area until you're completely geared up and ready to jump. This is loading area number 1. Normally, an aircraft which is just firing up or an airplane which is just finished fueling will load here. If an aircraft is turning or landing from one load and picking up the next, skydivers will load onto the trailer and ride to the loading area number 2. No one is allowed to walk outside the loading area number 1 unless they are walking back from the landing area. Aircraft will be loaded in the opposite of exit order. It is your responsibility to coordinate with other jumpers on the load and sort out the exit order before lining up to board the airplane. Exit order is as follows: hop and pops, belly groups big to small, free fly groups big to small, AFF students, tandems, high pulls, and wingsuits. Skydives of horizontal movement will be spaced out throughout the load, typically with flat trackers exiting first. Seatbelts and helmets must be worn until 1,500 feet. Each skydiver must have their own seatbelt. If you are operating the aircraft door, please use 2 hands to push up to open and use 2 hands to push down to close. Do not lift or pull the bottom of the door. I hope this video has made you feel more acquainted and better oriented with the property and the drop zone. If you have any questions, please ask a staff member, manager, or a safety officer of the drop zone. Also, if you witness any unsafe activity, behavior, or concern of any kind, please report it to a safety and training advisor. Be safe and happy jumping.